Hi everybody, I've previously done some videos about the Oculus Quest 2. One was my initial impressions of the Link cable using 72Hz, and another was using virtual desktop to do wireless 90Hz in the headset. Now thankfully there was some news that just came out recently from Oculus about a brand new update that brings 90Hz support via Link. Now not just 90Hz or 90 FPS support via the Link cable, but also they've improved the bitrate and the amount of data that can be sent down the USB cable so that it looks fantastic. So with this in mind, I had to put it to the test and actually finally answer the question, is the Quest 2 now viable for sim racing? So before we actually take a look at the new Link update, let's just have a reminder of what my initial impressions were originally. Ultimately, using the old Link update at 72Hz, you had this sort of weird delay and latency in the handling of the car. It didn't feel that sharp. The other thing as well is it used the old Quest 1 resolution and it used a limited bitrate on the USB, which meant the graphics weren't fully there. Using virtual desktop and a Wi-Fi 6 router, I was able to do 90Hz via the headset completely wirelessly. Now this was great, but there was definitely latency due to the fact it was wireless. I feel like that's such an achievement for games like Half-Life Alyx, but for sim racing, I need that latency to be as low as possible. So let's see if the new update lives up to the hype. So after plugging in your Link cable or equivalent USB 3 cable, it's worth checking the speed is compliant. So to use this new functionality, you're going to need your Oculus desktop and Oculus Quest 2 to be updated to version 23. Now Facebook say that they're rolling this out at the moment. I don't know if there's a way to force it, but you may find enrolling into the beta program might actually get you a bit quicker. Once you have this new update, you should be able to go to your Quest 2, scroll down and see these new options for 90Hz and also the resolution multiplier. Now I've left this on automatic, but I know that you can configure it precisely and also use the Oculus debug tool. Now there seems to be some different versions of this software floating around, because I also had this version which let me pick the frame rate but not change the multiplier on the resolution. But either way, 90Hz can be enabled with each. So for the purpose of this test, I'm going to be using iRacing as the sim, and you can see here are my graphical settings that I've decided to go through. Perhaps I'll do another video at some point all about this, but basically I found that this gives me the best experience, 90 frames per second with really good detail and all the cars shown on the track. So I might do another video separately completely about this, but just keep this in mind. Now just for anybody that's wondering what super sampling I'm running on this test, I've got the pixels per display set to 150 in the renderer ini file. I will say that you need a pretty beefy machine for what I'm about to show, so the spec of my machine is in the description if you want more information. Okay, so just cutting to the chase, how is it? Here you can see Oculus Quest 2 through the headset, and we're doing a steady 90Hz, even though we've got the graphics really turned up and we've got other cars on the track. To me, this was a bit of a wow moment. Now, I've come from an Oculus Rift CV1 where there's the screen door effect and just basically pixels everywhere. It's not a particularly pleasant experience. Everything's usually a bit blurry and it's just what I've got used to, a kind of smudgy mess with screen door and just not being able to see particularly clearly. In the Quest 2, with the new Link update, it's crystal clear. I don't know exactly how it comes across in this video footage because you're seeing recording outside of the headset, but from my perspective it's really, really good. For me though, the most important thing is latency. If there's a lot of latency, it's going to be completely unusable. This is what I found with the 72Hz Link version, and I also found it with the wireless 90Hz. You can see here we're using the debug tool to show the latency, and I'm trying to unsettle the car, try to catch the slides. Now we are getting about 40 to 45 milliseconds of latency. That's definitely higher than CV1, it's higher than the Rift S. That said, it's not a lot higher, and I must admit, doing my tests, I'm not actually noticing the latency that bad. The other thing you'll notice here is 90 frames and a performance headroom too. So while I was testing this, I kept trying to unsettle the latency, also trying different things to see if we could unsettle the 90 Hz. Now sometimes you do make mistakes, as you can see here. Now whether that's user error or whether that is latency. So I wanted to really push this to the test, and so I added 39 AI cars, set the graphics so I could see the whole grid, and I wanted to see how it performed. As you can see up ahead, we've got all the cars visible, and we're still maintaining 90 frames per second. Now this is really impressive, and it's probably partially due to the spec of my machine, which is in the description, but still this is a real step up from where I was on the Oculus Rift CV1. Now I kept doing different tests. It was quite enjoyable in a new headset, trying it out with the new graphical quality. And one of the problems that I noticed when I look back at this footage is that as my head is moving around in the headset, just like any VR headset, you get quite a lot of movement. Now here you can see as I'm correcting, the whole lot is shaking around. It's like an earthquake for the viewer that's watching. Really not desirable. I ended up doing quite a lot of research into this, and I was hoping there might be a plugin that I could find, such as a plugin for OBS or Elgato, and I couldn't find anything. And then I came across this. Unknown to me, Oculus released a new version of their PC software in August that has stabilization built in. This is amazing. I can't stress how bad it is for a viewer when your headset is moving around. It makes viewers really sick. With this functionality that is now built into the Oculus Mirror, you can actually stabilize the image so that while I'm enjoying racing in VR inside the car, the viewer is getting a much smoother, much more comfortable viewing experience. This is a real game changer for people that like to stream or record their footage but prefer racing in VR. If you'd like to know more about this or the settings I use and how I've got it configured, let me know in the comments below, and I'll make a completely separate video all about this and how I record my videos. And so what you're seeing here is the completely stabilized footage. You can still see me looking left to right, but other than that, it's completely stable from a viewer's perspective. There's no real head wobble as I'm sort of correcting the car. You can't even necessarily see my head tilting as I lean into a corner. You're just seeing a really stable shot of me driving this car. Now, I think this, combined with the new resolution of the Quest 2, plus now the 90 Hz via Link, make this the headset that I'm going to use all the time. Now, my CV1 was great, but this is definitely a step up, and I don't find the latency is too bad to actually take anything away from the experience. Now, people in the comments might say, why are you not using an index? Why are you not using the Odyssey or the reverb? Now, for me, just that stabilization feature is enough reason to stay with Oculus. I don't think you can get that on any other headset. So I'm hoping this video has been helpful. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to cover anything in more detail, because I know this was quite quick. And I'll leave you with the rest of this lap chasing down this guy and the enjoyment that I had making the footage for this video.